Okay, now I have my gesso here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use gesso and why you should use it and what it's good for. So gesso is liquid based and it dries hard, and it's different than regular acrylic paint because your acrylic paint will stick to your canvas better and it will leave a nice matte finish. I'm just using a bristle brush, and I have an old canvas up there. As you can see, it's pretty messy, it's been used, and I'm going to use this gesso to paint over it to give it a nicer surface. See, isn't that pretty? Really nice. And then you got a nice canvas to paint on. And that will dry nice and hard, and it'll give you a really nice surface to paint on. Just look at that, it's so fresh. Look. So you have an old canvas and it looks pretty used. That's okay, because once you put this gesso on there, you've got almost a brand new surface to paint on. And your acrylic will stick to it better. It'll give you a nice texture or a smooth surface. And if you want a really smooth surface, you can put on a coat of gesso and you can sand it down between coats. It's also cheaper than using regular white paint that you buy, the titanium white and your white paint that you buy in tubes. This is cheaper, you get a lot more paint, goes a long ways. You get a better surface, protects your painting. So you can see already, if you did that with your white paint that you out of your tube, you'd probably use up half the tube. But with this, I just had a couple of dabs of gesso and I put it on. And now you've seen how bad that looked at first, but now look at it. It looks brand new. See? Perfect. Ready to paint. Now I have another old painting that I was just playing around with. Let's see how much coverage we can get with the gesso. Okay, so I'm really loading up my brush. I like to put lots on there so that I don't have to go back and forth all the time. But just look at the coverage that you're getting. See? So now if you have a painting you don't like and you just want to paint over it, use gesso and paint over it. And you'll save money on painting with your white paint on the tube. And you'll get a really, really nice really nice surface to paint on. See? And don't take too long to dry. It's acrylic. And you can use this for oil paintings, for your oil painting surfaces. See? See how, look, one coat and it's covering up that really bright colors, thick colors I put on there. And look, one coat is fine. And now I have a great surface for doing a painting again. Perfect. Now, can't beat that. So yes, gesso is great for priming your canvases. Now, if you got canvases like I just showed you, that would be a perfect way to get them ready for a new painting. What I have here is cardboard. So you can use gesso on glass, on cardboard, watercolor paper, acrylic paper, to give it that nice surface that's ready to paint on. And look at that. So when that dries, That'll dry to a nice hard surface, and then you're ready to paint on it with your acrylic paints or your oil paints. See that? So gesso is great for getting your surface ready for painting. Now, see, that's only cardboard, so it's moving around a bit for me. But look, see the difference? And a couple of coats of gesso on that, and your cardboard is ready for painting. I have this big canvas here. This is an 18 by 22, and I'm using about this much gesso right here, and that will cover up the whole canvas, and you still have some left over. So as you can see, I'm doing it again because that paint there on the other side, that was what I used, my regular white paint out of a bottle. I used the Crafter's white paint, and you can see it didn't cover everything up. You can see it's pretty messy looking, but look, one coat of gesso, and look at that, covers it up, has beautiful coverage, and it doesn't take very much, and it's so smooth. You can feel it just moving along, and it stays wet longer. And just look how nice that is. Just how smooth. When you do it, you'll be able to feel the smoothness of the paint just moving along. And look how nice it covers. Look, I still have lots of gesso left over, and that's a huge canvas. I put lots on my brush, as you can see, and I just go up and down, or sideways, whatever way you want to do it. Just cover it up completely. And that will leave a beautiful surface for my acrylic paint. See? Really nice. And it's not that expensive either. I'll leave a link for you for the acrylic gesso. This one is 16 fluid ounces. It's fairly big. I think it's only $12. I'm not sure, but I'll check it out for you on Amazon, and I'll leave a link for you. But this is the gesso acrylic, and it'll dry to a matte finish. Now here's another trick for you. If you want to have gray gesso, you want to use that for your background, the bases, to get started with your painting, you can take your gesso, add a little bit of black to it, and now you got gray gesso. See? Isn't that nice? Really nice. Look how smooth it is. Then now you got a gray. See? Now you got gray background. Really, really nice. So we can't buy gray gesso. You don't really need to. Just add a little bit of black to it, and now you got gray gesso. You can buy black gesso, because it's hard. You won't be able to make black gesso because you'll have to add white to the gesso to it, and then you'd end up with gray anyway. But you can buy black gesso. I got a link for that for you. Another tip for you is you can use your gesso. Like I said, this is much cheaper than white paint, and it works great because it dries to a nice matte finish. If you want to have your painting matte finish, and you can add, say, blue. Now you got blue gesso in a nice sky color. So anything you got to add white to, or you want to color your gesso, just add. Look, beautifully spreads, beautiful. Look, I'm just going up and down without even having to stop. Isn't that gorgeous? Nice. So you can do that with all your colors. Let's try red. Alright, let's take some red. Take a little bit of red and some gesso, and then just mix it in. And now you got pink. You can have more red if you want, however you want it. And now you got nice red gesso. See, all colors, all gesso colors. And that, oh, beautiful. Look, I can go way down to the bottom without even having to, and that's a big canvas. Look, isn't that pretty? And that blends so beautifully, even when with the blue. See how it's blending on the edges there? Beautiful. So, you know, and that'll dry into a nice matte finish. And it's a primer, so it'll protect your paintings. Look, I'm going over into the blue, and it's not even messing up the blue. It's just blending beautifully on that edge there. So I think gesso would be a really new, nice alternative, I should say, to your white, expensive white paints. Now, if you still like using titanium white, yes, go ahead and use it. But gesso is, it's protecting your paintings. It's leaving a nice matte finish, and it's a good primer so that your acrylics will stick to it and they'll move smoothly. Let's try yellow. So let's put some yellow in our gesso. I just put a little bit here. Make some room. So, as much as you need. And you won't believe how smooth that is. I mean, if I can go from the top of my canvas, a huge canvas, and come all the way down without having to go get more paint, then that really saves you money on white paint. Okay? Saves you money, protects your painting, gives you a beautiful surface. Look, I'm even going into the pink and it's not changing it. It's just blending beautifully with the edges there. You see that? That's beautiful. Now, different brands give you a different consistency and texture, so you may want to check them out. I do love the Dollar and Roundy one. I say Liquid X probably has a nice one too. I'll leave links for you. And you can also take your gesso and mix it with water. So I'll just take my wet brush and I'll put more water on it so that it's almost dripping, okay? And then I will add that to my gesso, thin it out. That way you'll even save more money. So thin it out, see how nice and liquidy it is? Look, nice for glazes too, right? And then you can just go and put another thin coat on there if you want. This still has great coverage. And you can blend in with your yellow, and see, it doesn't even destroy it. You know, sometimes you use white paint and another color, and it just destroys the whole other color. So you can use a glaze. So you can take your water, add water to your gesso again, make it nice and thin, then add some color to it like yellow. And you can use that as a glaze, so you can see through it. See? So you can see through it. So it's very, very thin. So you can use it as a glaze. Lots of ways to use paints and come up with some new ideas. It's always fun to try and experiment with different things. I love gesso, and I'm going to use it more in my paintings because I do use a lot of white paint, and I am finding that there are times that I see, look, I'm even going over here and it's just not even destroying it. So pretty. Yes, it is very pretty. If that was dry, you could put a glaze over your gray just to see. Just wet, nice and wet. And then you can put a glaze over your gray so that I've got a yellow glaze over that gray. So the gray still comes through. You can still see through it, but it's giving it a lighter yellowish tint to the gray. Lots of things you can do. Experiment, and I'm pretty sure you'll get lots of uses out of your gesso. And I hope that helped you understand how gesso works. And you can also get it in a spray. So that's it for now for gesso. If I come up with some new ideas, I'm going to do a painting, and I'll use gesso in my painting just to show you how nicely it works. And the painting I'm going to do next. So this is a painting that I did, and I'm going to show you how to do this painting next. And I'm going to use gesso, and that will help you see how I'll gesso my canvas so that my paint will stick better, and I'll have a better surface, and it'll be a matte finish, and it will save me on some white paint. So we'll get started on that painting on my next video. And it's a very pretty painting. So go ahead and use gesso. I think you will love it, and you'll have a lot of fun with your paintings. It'll make it so much easier for you. If you liked this video, just leave a comment and let me know what you think about gesso and what other ways you can use gesso. You can share this video if you think it would be a help to others. And I will see you in the next video. Signing out from Allison Pryor. Happy painting!